Welcome to Life is Styn, where our goal is to make your life yours again. Today we're going to be answering the question, what is faith? I also hope that after this video you discover a little more about yourself or reality, as always. So let's answer the question first by defining faith. The first definition is 1, complete trust or confidence in someone or something. And the second is 2, strong belief in God or in the doctrines of a religion based on spiritual apprehension rather than proof. Now, there's a whole can of worms here to open up, so let's start off. I'm not a big fan of the second definition, but let's make a distinction here and say that belief and faith are two separate things. I've talked about it in the past that believe means that you do not know. Faith is knowing things that cannot be seen in the physical senses. This is why a lot of times some things can only be proven to a single individual, not to everyone as a whole. That's what makes so-called enlightenment so unpopular. Most want evidence and proof, and let's say you found some proof of your own. How do you know you aren't deceiving yourself? The mind, the ego, it's all very tricky. It's hard to know what is real and what's not. What's truth and what's thought. Well, observation and not trying to project ourselves onto our evidence can help, but the only issue with that is that we like to think science is objective, which we try our hardest to do. But the kind of science we do and why and under what paradigm is very subjective. Now, some famous scientists may discover something fascinating about reality, but interpret it the wrong way. So, as a mass, we all end up believing it. Notice how I say belief here. Until a different scientist with a subjective, different perspective interprets it correctly. There are thousands of examples of this, but a good one is Pluto being a planet or just an ice rock. We all thought for a long time Pluto was a planet. It was taught in schools, it was taught as cold, hard facts, even though it wasn't. Now, there are a million examples of why blindly believing religion is a terrible idea, so I wanted to share an example of why blindly believing science can also stray you far from the truth. And I mean, that's our main goal here, is truth. Now, this is where direct experience and investigation into the nature of what you're trying to discover is true or not. And faith is trusting and letting go. Now, I trust myself and I trust the universe. I have faith in where I'm going and that I'll end up exactly where I'm supposed to be. In my How to Actually Manifest video, I talk about you being able to decide the where and what, but not the when and how. The problem being the ego wants to. It has to know when and how. Otherwise, it gets anxious, it lashes out, it gets scared, etc. Now, faith is trusting in the when and how. Even if you don't get to know. But I don't do all of this through blind belief. I do this through experiments in my life. Now, if someone says, hey, reality is this way, then I'm going to conduct my own experiment to discover the validity of that statement. I listen to a lot of teachers, gurus, scientists, psychologists, shamans, you name it, because there's a little bit of truth everywhere. And reality is boundless and infinite. So once you confine it to one aspect, like science or religion, you miss out on 50% of reality. You miss out on the other side of the coin. You argue, you fight to the death, you condemn, judge. Worst of all about the debate is it's over the same exact coin, just a different side of it. Faith isn't blind belief in God, and faith isn't just blindly trusting. Faith is knowing by not knowing. There's something I have learned along my journey, which I hope you will learn someday, if you haven't already. Like, most fear stems from not being enough, not doing enough, or not having enough. But after learning that we are enough, we are doing enough, and we have enough, I can have faith that that is the case. And then life proves it to me by it being the case. So even when life tests me, I can persist, I can stay resilient. I know if I'm worrying or fearful that that's just the ego, and I can remind myself when I forget the most basic things that I've learned along my journey, that it's all right. Now, have faith in yourself. Have faith in where you're going. Have faith that it's going to work out. And I know you're going to end up exactly where you're meant to. And lastly, I want you to have the day that you were meant to have.